Quindi non sai se è un campo abbandonato.
Allora, in teoria stiamo rubando.
Sì?
Nel senso che non è, la terra non è la nostra, quindi se uno prende i frutti della terra di qualcun altro è rubare. Però quelle cascate in terra, prima che le prenda un cinghiale, secondo me non facciamo un danno a nessuno, insomma, eccolo là. Where we could see wild boars.
Ah sì?
There are no more grapes.
Ah
So
sì?
we probably will go and eat apples. And it's
Ah sì?
the right time. In 20 minutes they could come out. So we have to go very, very silently
Ok,
and sneaky.
ok, ho capito.
As you can see, they've been wandering around and probably looking for grapes that were on the ground or stuff like that.
Sì.
And this is probably the female with the small ones.
Ah sì?
This is a bigger animal with the small. If you see here, they've been crossing the female, small ones. It could actually be a wild boar.
Ah, senti.
Savage beast.
Okay, we're going into the darkness. Into the wood. Oh, we made it.
Apples are down there.
Sì.
Probably there can be some wild boars already eating the apples.
Ah sì,
So we need to be very silent.
ho capito.
We have to speak very. The wind comes that way, so it's not very good, but not even the worst wind we can have. So we have to be careful when we squash leaves. Be very slow, very, very gentle.
Vieni qua, ce ne sono tante. Ce ne sono tante qua.
Queste gialle sono buone.
It is such cozy weather here in Tuscany. It's autumn, and I just love it. Like the fireplace and picking fruit that you can stew with cinnamon and brown sugar. This is my recipe for an apple tart. I like to put a frangipane filling in and make a short crust pastry, and I suppose. Well, I mean, if in Italian, I suppose you would call it a crostata. I'm sorry, but an Italian crostata is often very dry and crumbly. This is not what I like. I'm much more of a fan of the French tart because the French, I don't know, I suppose, perhaps they just use better butter. Someone once told me that Italians use margarine, which I mean, she was talking about like Italian housewives and so on, and she thinks that they use margarine instead of good quality butter. I don't know, but basically I love a pastry to be really rich and buttery and not dry and crumbly. So this is a short crust pastry recipe that I use all the time. So this apple orchard, we're not entirely sure to whom it belongs, but it sort of feels like it's abandoned because, as you can see, like all the apples are just falling into the ground and rotting, and it's just a wonderful season, isn't it? Perhaps I appreciate it a little bit more because I grew up in a very tropical, humid place where probably Indians can relate to my experience of my climate, because I come from a part of Australia where there aren't really four distinct seasons. We don't really have a lot of deciduous trees. So for me, just looking outside and seeing, you know, all the trees, even the tree just outside my window here is, it used to be green and then now it's yellow. And I mean, a lot of you saw on my Insta stories, I was eating figs just over a week ago, and now all the figs have stopped and now it's apples, and I just love it. It sounds so cliched, but Italy, or living at least in the countryside here in Italy, you're constantly reminded of the transience of everything, of how, you know, enjoy something while it's there on the tree, or while it's ripe and while it's sweet, because the next week it will be gone, but something else will be in its place. And I don't know, I do love this metaphor. So let's get started. I think might be going to rain soon, and I just have the fire going. And actually, do you know why I'm making this? Not just for you, also for a dinner party that we're going to tomorrow night. I think, so long as I don't annoy my friends, I'm going to try to film a few little moments from the dinner party, so you can come along and see the people who will be eating this tart. What I want to do is fan all of the apple pieces out, so I like to just sort of chop them all to about the same thickness, if you can. Chop your butter and work it into your flour and sugar to create our tart pastry. I've used both icing sugar and fine caster sugar with successful results.
Very, very good. And now, ladies and gentlemen, on with the show and the four boys who are considered the finest singing group in the world today. Ink Spots, here they are.
Using as little liquid as possible gives you that delicate, tender crumb. I almost never add water and only use eggs, but if you happen to have small eggs and your dough really doesn't feel moist enough to come together in a ball, feel free to add a tiny bit of water like this.
Then why do I thrill and what
If you knead pastry too much, the texture will be tough because too much gluten will form. Now cover airtight and leave it to rest in the fridge for about 15 minutes. Do you want to know something silly? Yes, of course you do. Why not? I put perfume on for you. Sounds strange, but I feel like you can feel when I smell good. Can you let me know? Can you feel that I'm clean and profumata? I don't know why. I feel like sometimes when I'm cooking, like you're coming over for tea, for a chat, and so just by instinct, like I put this hand cream on that smells of ficotinha, and I don't know why I do it, because of course you can't smell me yet. Maybe in the future. To make the almond filling, I start by creaming brown sugar with butter. Beat in 1 egg at a time. Maybe switch to a whisk. Add some vanilla bean paste, a little flour, and the main ingredient, almond meal or almond flour. Of course, some more cinnamon, and gently fold it all in together. The most important time for your pastry to rest is the second time it rests in the fridge, when it's in the tart pan, so that it takes on the shape and doesn't just collapse and become misshapen in the oven later. My recipe isn't a sticky dough, so you should be able to roll it out without flour or baking paper, but I'm showing you how to do it like this, just in case yours is sticky. This will save you fretting.
If I didn't care, honey John, more than words can say. If I didn't care, darling, would I feel this way? Baby, if this isn't love, I mean the real thing, then why do I thrill so doggone much? And what is it that makes my head go round and round, while my heart just stands still so much?
If I didn't care, would it be the same?
I like to take my time pressing the edges with my fingertips so that the crust is neat and smooth. It makes a difference. I find it's better than just cutting it with a knife. Now cover airtight and put it in the fridge for about an hour. Totally unrelated to apples or tart, but on Sunday afternoon, after I served this tart for Sunday lunch, I was in the Guido's, my boyfriend's parents' place, because it's just here on the same property, and I just was scrambling around the attic, and there's this little passageway that you have to crawl through on your hands and knees, and it's all dark, and there are cobwebs, and I just looked down underneath my knees where I was crawling, and I found this beautiful vintage newspaper. I mean, it was on the floor, just scraps, and there was no cover, so I don't know what year it's from, but I just fell in love with it, because I think so many of you will understand why. Just the typography and the glamour of it all. I'll show you some cutaways of it, but basically there are these pictures of these men and women, and they're so elegant. It's just this time when, I mean, now when you think about the tabloids, it's like, I don't know, celebrities in G-string bikinis, and that's fine. I mean, I suppose that's the era we live in, but I found it so interesting and nostalgic to look at these, what's essentially a tabloid newspaper, and instead of these sort of candid vulgar, crude shots of celebrities. There's just like a beautiful, elegant picture of, for example, Maria Callas, the famous Greek opera singer who must have been in Milan at La Scala or something, or maybe in Florence, maybe. I don't know, because you see, the thing is, I can't work out what year it is. There are a few clues. Perhaps I'll leave a few clues and someone can tell me, piece it together and tell me which year you think this newspaper is from. For me as well, like it feels so kind of sweet and melancholy, because it's this time. I mean, the newspaper is called Oggi, which is today, and it's just encapsulates this moment in time. And these are the things that they were advertising, and this is the news that they were reporting on, and this was the fashion that society deemed desirable for women and men, and it just, I don't know, it's just so beautiful to have that all captured in just a piece of black and white paper, you know. I just drained the liquid out of the apples, and I like to keep this because you might want to reduce it down and turn it into some sort of caramel sauce to put over your tart. I've done that before. I just like to place the apples out so I can see them all, so that I can choose how I layer them. And it's also good just to lay them out here so that they cool down. So that we're not going to melt any of our frangipane filling when we put hot apple on top. I have a lot here. I've done more than I need, but I just find that stewing apples is a lovely way to make sure that they're not going to go off, and you're definitely going to have them. And I even have them sometimes for breakfast. I mean, stewed cinnamon apples with yogurt and nuts is lovely. Sorry, I've got to try to not make these sounds. People often par-bake their tart shell, but I find this is only going to dry it out. Oh my gosh. And then what you want to do now is to sort of put on some lovely music, so that as you're fanning your apples, you can just sort of lose yourself in the scent of cinnamon and sugar. And I find it quite therapeutic. Oh my gosh, like, look at that already. It's just so calming. Thank you for watching. Could you be so kind and give this video a thumbs up and subscribe and click the little bell? I can see in the analytics on my YouTube channel that something like only 11% of you actually have the bell clicked and the notifications allowed on your phone. And then a lot of you asked me, Kylie, I didn't know that this episode was out, or I never get notified when you post a video. And I think this is the reason, because perhaps on your phone you don't have it allowed, and also you subscribed, but then you haven't clicked the little bell. So complicated, isn't it? It would be nice if I could just have your number and text you and be like, hey, would you like to have a chat? I've just posted something. But I am trying to be really consistent and publish every Friday. So that way you'll just know to always check in on a Friday evening or a Saturday morning. I try to post Friday because I think that a lot of you tell me you like to get up on Saturday morning and have a coffee and watch my videos, or on a Sunday night when you've finally done all the house chores and perhaps you've got a moment to yourself away from family or with family. A lot of you I know watch it with your partner or with your children. So yeah, it's all of it to me is amazing. Sometimes when I think that people would even schedule like to watch my content with a loved one, it just, it's so touching. Thank you. I always say thank you to my patrons. If this insect doesn't fly into my mouth, I can tell you, those who do donate, you're really proof that one can rely in the kindness of strangers. I feel like it's like I am a farmer and I've put out a little box of my apples and I've just left an honesty box. Is that what you call them also in North America? But an honesty box where it just says leave for something for what you're taking, and you see that in the countryside, don't you? But you wouldn't see it in the city because trust has eroded in the city. But I feel like that's what this channel is like. I mean, you can take my apples and not leave anything. But those of you who do leave either a donation or a comment or a like, or you subscribe, that's lovely, because that's what I'm trusting in. I'm trusting that there are people out there just like you. I have so much wonderful content coming up. I think I'm going to do a bathroom renovation. Would you like to see a bathroom renovation similar to what I did with this kitchen renovation? And I also have the vendemmia, the grape harvest. They're actually making wine right now underneath this kitchen. And then soon they're going to do the olive harvest to make olive oil. So I thought I'd combine those two together and make a big harvest episode. I shall look forward to reading your comments and hearing what you think and what you would like. Oh, also language lessons. What stage are you at with your Italian? Because I could do sort of 3 different levels in the one video, but it's hard to know because so many of you write to me every day and say, Kylie, I'm studying Italian, and maybe you are Italo-Americano, or maybe you've just decided now and you have, like me, you have no ancestors in Italy, but you just love the language. And so do let me know what level you're at. As they say in The Sound of Music, so long, farewell, and I shall see you next Friday. Have a beautiful weekend.
Would all of this be true?